Hey guys, welcome to the couch. Before I get started with the review, I just want to ask that everyone keeps an open mind and remains respectful, because I have a different opinion about Frozen, and I don't want that to determine your liking or disliking of the video, and having different opinions is kind of the point of movies and reviews in general. Okay? Okay, let's get this party started.
Intro!
Fro. See what I did there? Math teacher joke. So Frozen is about two... Dude! Spoiler, Spencer. What are you doing here? You don't have to give a synopsis for Frozen. It grossed over $1 billion. Everyone's seen it. You know what? You don't even need me for the video. Okay. Bye! Now on to my thoughts. Okay, when I first was gonna go see Frozen, it was the end of November before all the hype of how great it was came out. I was not excited for it, because I hated the marketing campaign. I didn't even know it was a princess movie. I only saw the trailer with Sven and Olaf trying to get the one carrot. My predictions included, oh my gosh, this is gonna be a buddy road trip movie with a reindeer and a snowman. Luckily, it exceeded all of my expectations. The animation and the music in this movie are absolutely phenomenal. Most of the characters are incredibly likable. And sorry, Idina Menzel fans, I think Kristen Bell steals the show. I think the reason Idina Menzel didn't steal the show for me is because Elsa is basically Elphaba. From their basic origins of being a misunderstood villain, to the little sister that's harmed by their powers in one way or another, to their parents who die in the middle of the feature that are high in political places. And the climax of the show, the part that everyone remembers, is the big climactic song where she defies convention and society and lets go of her problems. And back with the good side of things, it's a very emotional journey. However, I did not feel it as much because I don't have a sister. I have people that feel like sisters to me in my theater groups, but I don't have the blood connection that actual sisters would relate more to than I did. This brings us into the negatives. I said mostly likable characters because there were a few characters that bothered me. First of all, the merchants are incredibly flat in this movie. The one that Anna meets in the woods kind of makes sense because he's only in it for a little bit, but the little merchant they keep bringing back in scenes kind of didn't work for me because it was this useless subplot about trade to make it feel like Disney monarchs actually did things besides sing in towers. And you already have two comic reliefs in Sven and Olaf, so you don't need another one. Which brings us to Olaf. First of all, I'd just like to point out that I love Josh Gad. I loved him in the Book of Mormon, and I loved him in his little cameo in The Internship. However, there was something that bothered me about Olaf here and there. Like, he had his warm, touching moments, like I liked his scene at the end with Anna when she was freezing to death. But for some reason, he just kind of bothered me every now and then when they were getting to the tower for the first part. Second of all, the story of Frozen seems a little bit clunky, and it's brought to us by convenience, plot holes, or just flawed logic. First of all, let's talk about Kristoff and the trolls. When he's sitting around with the trolls, one of the troll ladies says, "You're cute, I'm keeping you." What if Kristoff had other parents? Second of all, when they figure out what to do with Anna's head and Elsa's powers, their parents basically imprison their children in the towers and separate each other for the rest of their lives. Oh my gosh, you are terrible parents! Well, I guess all parents that figure out their kids have powers overreact to forward the plot. Have you ever tried not being a mutant? Why is it always the parents of the ones with ice powers? When Anna and Hans first meet, this feels a lot more clunky when you know who Hans really is. That wasn't planned, they didn't know each other at first. And then at the time, it feels like that they had love at first sight. And you know how I feel about love at first sight. Anna, he could be a criminal for all you... Oh, wait. But now's a good time to talk about Hans and his plan. When they revealed Hans was the bad guy, I was completely floored. However, on second viewing, there are no indications except for maybe one or two lines that said he was the bad guy. Whenever he's not with Anna, like when he was first fell into the boat, he smiled like a normal person would smile. Or when he was helping out Arendelle, he was genuinely helping out Arendelle. When they finally revealed he was the bad guy, it just kind of felt like the screenwriter said, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool if Hans was the bad guy?" Oh yeah, that would be cool. I'll start writing it. Take The Sixth Sense, for example. It has a huge twist at the end. You wouldn't know that there was a twist at the end unless Sixth Sense was infamous for having a twist, which it is. But throughout the film, the filmmakers make subtle clues about what's actually going on in the story. Oh yeah, and the twist is... Don't worry, I'm not evil. First, let's talk about Elsa for a minute. From when their parents died to when she was getting ready for her coronation, it was 3 years later. So let me get this straight. There was not a monarch in Arendelle for 3 whole years. Don't you think the one place where the Duke is from and wherever Hans is from could have went, hey, they have no ruler, we can attack them, and take them over for their resources? Speaking of resources, I can understand why you're concerned about Elsa's powers getting out of control, but her powers basically supply free, fresh water. And Elsa constantly telling yourself, don't feel, don't feel, don't feel, don't feel, is actually counterproductive because I learned in Inception. If I tell you not to think about elephants, what are you thinking about? Elephants. If you really don't want to feel anything, just hang out with Vulcans all the time. Or if you really want to be appreciated, just hang out with nerds. Elsa, if you just went up to a group of nerds and went, they would say, oh my gosh, you have superpowers! And then Elsa freezes Anna for a second time, and then she's taken to the trolls, and then they tell her an act of true love will thaw the frozen heart, and then they say, oh, a true love's kiss will work. Quick question, why does that work in every Disney movie? I knew it was going to be something in between the sisters, but I really didn't want Kristoff to be a love interest by the end. In the last scene of the movie where Anna gets in the sled, I was watching like, oh no, don't kiss him, don't kiss him, don't, oh, it was so close to not having an actual romance in the movie. I really wish they only focused on the relationship between the sisters. Speaking of Kristoff, I was wondering why I liked him so much. But then I realized, oh my gosh, Kristoff is Han Solo. I know there's another character named Hans in this, but really hear me out. His initial motivation to help Anna out is for greed. Then he ends up helping her because, he actually cares. He kind of has that snarky, scruffy-looking nerf herder feel about him. The initial reason Anna wants help is for a ride. He has his animal sidekick, and by the end, he's the love interest of who else? The princess. Those are all my story issues. They're all really nitpicky. But my next question is, do you guys want a sequel to Frozen? I understand they're really likable characters, and spending more time with them is not bad time spent. But there's nowhere really to go. But if they were to do one, I'd want it to be Frozen, Wrath of Han. In conclusion, it may sound like I had more negatives than positives for this movie, but what this movie does good, it does really well. And those are just really nitpicky things that I noticed, and if you love this movie as much as all my theater friends do, that's awesome. I really wish I could as much, but it just didn't hit me the way that it hit you guys. Thanks for watching, thanks for being respectful and open-minded, and please subscribe below.